Thank you, Mr. Rizal Naini, Chief Executive Officer of SME Corp Malaysia, for the opening remarks. Thank you very much, Mr. Rizal Naini. Right, ladies and gentlemen, and now to deliver the opening keynote, it's my pleasure to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Wan Junaidi bin Tuanku Jaafar, Minister of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives Malaysia.
Mr. Faros Nada, Executive Director, Global Compact Network, Malaysia. Mr. Rizal Naini, Chief Executive Officer, SME Corp, Malaysia. Distinguished speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to everyone. It is my great pleasure and honor to address you at this prestigious the Go ESG ASEAN Corporate Sustainability Virtual Summit 2020. Our virtual interaction today is in line with the new normal that has become mainstream. Likewise, the summit theme of businesses of recovering better, resilient, sustainable ASEAN by design is apt timely as the world is facing prolonged COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the world has changed dramatically since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak as a global pandemic. Life and economic activities are disrupted. A crisis could cause economic and social damages far larger than what we are experiencing now. The pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to the business landscape in ASEAN and around the world. It has spared no one, including the SMEs that constitute the majority of business establishments in all economies around the world. Besides battling against COVID-19, we continue to face environmental emergencies globally, such as climate change and loss of biodiversity. If we ignore these issues, they could alter our planet, which may cause extreme weather events like tropical storms, wildfires, severe droughts, and heat waves. This is a global phenomenon which will adversely affect human life and properties. And ASEAN member countries, including Malaysia, are not an exception to the effect. Our resources will have to be fully stretched as on the one hand, and we need to address climate change, while on the other hand is our war against COVID-19 plus the economic impact to the country. There is no doubt COVID-19 has forced us to rethink the way businesses are conducted. However, it also presents us with the opportunity to reset our economic fundamentals and build a better and more sustainable future. The most fundamental issue for SMEs is sustainability of their businesses. Sustainability in business entails a long-term entrepreneurial journey that will take them through many evolution of business ideas, innovations, and creativity. The COVID-19 period is giving a window of opportunity that should be taken by businesses to demonstrate leadership as two-pronged initiative in transforming business models, operation, and even influence value chain by sourcing responsible and addressing environmental issues, which is essential to achieve green growth while sustaining development as embodied in each ASEAN member country development plan. Thus, businesses will prosper with green growth as they will always have the edge in the global market, and they can take their stride to stay ahead of their competitors in an ever-changing and competitive business environment. This is where I would say aligning SME to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is highly important. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals which include good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, and partnership to achieve the goal. Here is where we have to provide the guidance to the SMEs for the formulation of strategies to achieve the appropriate goal, which can be the inspiration toward improving business processes. It is imperative the specific social and environmental impact of the operation and product need to be integrated into the strategies employed. This will bring about long-term business benefit and uplifting the corporate image. I urge budding entrepreneurs from SME to a large firm to incorporate the Sustainable Development Goals criteria in their transformation plan and to unite behind the United Nations Global Compact calls to action, which is to scale business impact with sustainability at its core and also the way forward. Apart from sustainable development, in further promoting our individual national environmental agenda embodied in the Paris Agreement 2015, example, Malaysia has ratified the Paris Agreement in April 2016. The Paris Agreement 2015 is presently ratified by 188 countries out of 197 countries, and the agreement called for limiting global mean temperature to rise to below 2 degrees centigrade and ideally below 1.5 degrees centigrade. Malaysia, like parties to the agreement, did promise to participate in global efforts to address climate change even before the Paris Agreement was signed. In 2009, in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, meeting in Copenhagen, Malaysia pledged to pursue a 40% reduction in its carbon emission intensity compared to the 2005 level by 2020, contingent on adequate technology transfer and financing from the developed world. In Paris negotiation, Malaysia reformatted its pledge to 45% reduction. The commitment is to reduce its emission intensity by 45 by the year 2030, with 10% of this goal contingent upon international assistance in finance and technological aid. Although the additional financing and technology were not forthcoming, Malaysia is on track to meet its goal. With this excellent track record, Malaysia is going to be more ambitious commitment in addressing climate change. As a responsible nation, Malaysia made its latest commitment reflected in its nationally determined contribution to the Paris Agreement. The commitment is to reduce its emission intensity by 45 by the year 2030, with which 10% of this goal is contingent upon international assistance. Now Malaysia has achieved a 33% carbon emission intensity of GDP reduction relative to 2005 level toward the targeted 45% emission out by 2030. In terms of the amount of carbon reduction, this is more than 27 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. This proves that Malaysia is on track to a low carbon development path for a low carbon economy, the path that we must pursue relentlessly. This commitment could only be fulfilled through the involvement of diversity of actors. Therefore, there is a need for the setting up of an effective public-private partnerships. I'm confident Malaysia would succeed with the active involvement of non-governmental actors, especially the private businesses and corporations. It is proven that the private sector has helped to advance our economy's mitigation effort by exercising corporate social responsibility and sector leadership. Business and corporations have incorporated sustainable, low-carbon practices into their operation in response to institutional pressure in an effort to reduce costs. International cooperation from developed countries have led on this effort by bringing the best practices with them, because they have to be responsive to environmentally conscious consumers and outside our national borders. On the same note, I would urge the domestic cooperation in all ASEAN member countries to implement carbon mitigation program. Our region must take lead for this noble cause to save the earth and humanity. We all must be aware that corporations are considered to be the central drivers of our nation's decarbonization effort. But on this score, we should not discount the SMEs when they could always emulate a large corporation for their carbon mitigation effort in carrying out their businesses. It is certain that with large number of SMEs in operation, the multiply effect on the amount of sustainable development goals emission into the atmosphere will be substantial. This is therefore an urgent need to ascertain the carbon footprint of SMEs as they consume energy and fuel as well as producing waste. Carbon footprint is the amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere as a result of activities of a particular individual, organization, or community. On this note, all SMEs have to audit their carbon footprint. This SME carbon footprint audit report can be used to detect the source of the Sustainable Development Goal emission and to find the mitigation measures to address the Sustainable Development Goal emission. Effort by individual SME could appear insignificant, but in larger group they represent. This decarbonization effort could put the SME in the transition to a low carbon development path, thus enabling for concerted effort to a transition of a low carbon economy of each respective member countries of ASEAN. For a start, to achieve this greenhouse gases emission reduction, the technical support of green technology adoption for SMEs is essential. This will transform the SMEs' business behavior via embracing environmental awareness when doing business. These measures are only the tip of the iceberg because the SME carbon footprint audit report will catalyze more mitigation measures to be adopted. I would like to take the opportunity to suggest to my ASEAN colleagues to initialize the SME carbon footprint audit report, which I feel is a positive start of this quest. I anticipate we will then have a special platform to discuss issues on mitigating sustainable development goals, emission of SMEs. We could learn from our success and failures, our experience and our achievement. This would be the SME's contribution to our agenda in meeting our national commitment to the Paris Agreement 2015. We could be proud of SME fraternity too, for the positive contribution to this effect comparable to the 5 key sectors, namely industrial, energy, transport, agriculture, and forestry. Ladies and gentlemen, coupled with the environmental issues and the COVID-19 pandemic. For us to emerge stronger, it will be vital that we take a comprehensive approach involving all sectors. The pandemic has shown that innovative, inclusive, and sustainable growth can only be possible through setting up of an effective public-private partnership. We must raise our ambition, set new standards, work with the ecosystem, and push for environmental friendly innovation. All this could be achieved through better environmental, social, and governance measures, accelerate inclusive digital operation, as well as invest in training to equip our workforce with future-thinking skill sets. SME must align their thinking and integrate inclusivity and sustainability into their core values that can drive long-term value creation by developing business models to manage the economy, social and environmental dimensions in a balanced manner. All businesses and stakeholders along various global value chains have to share the responsibility and accountability related to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which is vital in meeting the country's sustainable development agenda. Recognizing that it can be difficult for SME to set up a structured sustainability practice, I was made to understand that SME toolkit, a set of tools for SME used as a reference to begin their sustainability journey, will be launched this afternoon. As the government and business leaders refocus their attention to reviving their businesses, it is commendable of companies like Sarawak Energy Berhad to have developed the toolkit in partnership with the Global Compact Network Malaysia. The toolkit, which encompasses, among others, readiness question, action checklist, best practices, guide and digital knowledge resource maps, will be made digitally available on Global Compact Network Malaysia. I hereby urge everyone, especially SMEs, to make use of this toolkit, as it will help move from surviving to thriving. Finally, I would like to extend my appreciation to the organizer, United Nations Global Compact Network Malaysia, for inviting me to deliver the opening keynote. I would also like to express my warm appreciation to all supporting partners for making this event a success. With this, I'm pleased to officially launch the Go ESG ASEAN Corporate Sustainability Virtual Summit 2020. I wish everyone a fruitful and prolific session ahead. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.